Kuwait shot down 3 American F-15E Strike Eagles, not Iran. Kuwait, a U.S. ally. During active combat operations against Iran, American aircraft went down because of friendly fire from the country that hosts U.S. forces in the region. All 6 crew members ejected safely, but 3 aircraft are gone. So what exactly did Kuwait shoot down, and why does losing 3 of them in one incident actually matter? The F-15E Strike Eagle has been flying for nearly 40 years. The original F-15E first flew in 1972, and the E variant came into production in 1988. That is a long time for any aircraft to stay relevant in frontline service, but this plane has kept earning its place. It did not survive 4 decades because of budget decisions or politics. It survived because it keeps performing. It is currently the fastest crewed aircraft in the entire U.S. Air Force. 1,875 miles per hour, 2.5 times the speed of sound. 2 engines, each pushing out over 23,000 pounds of thrust. That kind of power does not just mean going fast in a straight line. It means the aircraft can climb almost vertically and still accelerate. It can throw itself through a hard turn without losing speed, and in any real combat situation, that is what keeps you alive. But speed alone is not what makes the Strike Eagle genuinely different. Most fighter jets are built for one job. Either you fight other aircraft, or you hit things on the ground. The F-15E does both, in any weather, day or night. That combination is rarer than people think. A big part of that comes down to a system called Lantern. 2 pods mounted under the aircraft, one for navigation and one for targeting. They let the crew fly at low altitude in complete darkness and still find and hit targets on the ground with precision. Think of it like night vision plus a laser pointer built directly into the aircraft. The crew can see things in the dark that would be completely invisible to the naked eye. The cockpit has a head-up display, which puts all the critical flight and weapons information directly on the windscreen. The pilot never needs to look down inside the cockpit. Eyes stay outside the whole time, on the sky, on the threats. In fast-moving combat that is not a small thing. Weapons-wise it carries a lot. A built-in 20mm cannon, AIM-9 Sidewinder missiles for close-range engagements, AIM-120 AMRAAMs for longer-range radar-guided shots, and for ground attack it regularly carries DAMs, which are basically regular unguided bombs fitted with GPS kits and fins. You are taking a dumb bomb and giving it a brain. It can also carry nuclear weapons when the mission requires it. One more thing worth mentioning. The F-15E has 2 crew members, a pilot up front and a weapons systems officer seated right behind. The weapons officer runs the sensors, the targeting, and the weapons throughout the mission. When you are flying fast and low at night while tracking ground targets and watching for air threats at the same time, splitting that work between 2 people is not just useful, it is the only realistic way to manage it. Range is another real strength. 2,400 miles without refueling, and it can take on fuel in the air from tanker aircraft. The KC-135 Stratotanker handles most of that for U.S. operations. Those same KC-135s were also deployed for Operation Epic Fury. One of them crashed in western Iraq this week, killing 6 U.S. service members. CENTCOM confirmed the crash was not the result of hostile or friendly fire and the investigation is still ongoing. On cost, each F-15E was around $31.1 million when produced in 1998. In today's money that is roughly $62.3 million per aircraft. Newer F-15 variants run close to $100 million each. The latest version, the F-15EX Eagle II, has upgraded engines and more advanced systems. So 3 aircraft down in one incident, you are looking at well over $150 million gone. And that is a conservative number. Now here is the part that matters beyond the money. Friendly fire is not new. It has happened in every major conflict in history. When multiple countries are running aircraft and air defense systems in shared airspace during active combat operations, the risk of misidentification is real. That is not an excuse for what happened. It is just the reality of how complicated these environments actually get. But the specific question of how Kuwait's air defenses locked onto 3 American aircraft without anyone catching it in time, that is exactly what the investigation needs to answer. Because the answer tells you whether this was a one-off procedural mistake or whether there is a deeper coordination problem between Allied forces sharing the same airspace. The fact that Kuwait acknowledged it and the U.S. publicly thanked Kuwait for its support tells you both sides are handling this carefully. Nobody wants to turn an operational accident into a diplomatic problem in the middle of an active campaign. Honestly, what concerns me more than the incident itself is what the investigation reveals. If the problem is a specific gap in procedure or identification technology, that can be fixed. But if it points to something more fundamental about how Allied systems are talking to each other in this environment, that is a harder problem. And it needs to be solved before the next set of aircraft go up.